And we are live on the radio. This is not Leza LaChapelle-Dandos. This is Matt Santos filling in for Leza this morning on KYCA 103.5 FM with my buddy Matt Hinshaw. How you doing, Matt?
Living the dream. So
Yeah,
Liz
that's a
was
nightmare.
Well, nightmares are dreams. But Liz was in yesterday, and she called it Liz Alive. So is this Matt alive?
No, Matt is not alive. Neither of us.
Matt a dead.
Matt is still tired. Matt not enough coffee today, but we want to thank Leza for letting both Liz and I come in and fill in for a couple of days this week. We understand she's out of town taking care of some personal business on a funeral.
Yeah, SoCal.
Yeah. Southern Cal, hopefully far away from where things are ignited. We know that's a sad situation we've all been monitoring pretty well. So we wish Leza a safe return. She should be back next week. And you are stuck with me for an hour. It's the Matt and Matt show.
Well, clearly we just lost a whole lot of listeners.
Ooh, the sound of silence. And then, of course, Drew in the booth. Drew, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Matt. Nice to see you again.
I want to throw to you really quick for a weather report. What's the weather out there like, Drew?
Got a window? Open it. No.
No, I don't. I'm in a locked closet.
All right.
They don't want people looking in this beautiful building and seeing me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, today's going to be sunny. We'll have some northwest winds, about 15 miles an hour this morning. And then tonight it'll be mostly clear with light winds. We'll have a high of 48 today. Tomorrow's low is going to be 21. And then on Saturday, we're looking at pretty much the same thing, but with 52 degrees and a low of 16. So Saturday morning is going to be real cold, okay?
Somebody shared a meme with me recently, and it says, if it's colder than my age, I'm not leaving the house. So
that works.
I should not leave the house till probably mid-May, I think is when I should leave. Now, in the chair across from me is our good friend Barry Barb. Well, no, Barry is not here today. Barry Barb of restaurant and performing arts fame as of recently.
Yeah.
El Gato Azul, Torme, the Fourth Wall Production.
Yeah, his new one.
His new one, which is Urban Dining. I wanted to ask him about
Surely Urban Eats, yes.
I wanted to ask exactly what Urban Eats
That's not ready to go yet, isn't it?
I want to know about it. I need to know. Inquiring minds want to know, Drew.
Is he going to be here?
No, well, that's the whole point. He was going to be here. I was going to talk to Barry. I really like Barry. So if you know why Barry hates me and decided when he found out I was hosting he was going to stay home, please feel free to call in. Matt, what's the number? They can call in and tell why Barry hates me.
928-541-1016, or as Leza likes to say, 1016.
1016 928-541-1016. Call in with your understanding, your insight as to why Barry Barb hates Matt Santos.
Or
I know why he hates me. I know why everybody hates me. There's a long list, but I want to know what you think.
I was just going to say, if you want to call in and express why you hate Matt Santos, not just why Barry, you're more than welcome. It might be a busy call day.
Feel free.
Sorry, Drew.
Sorry, Drew. Your fingers are going to get
It's all
tired.
lit up.
Oh, wait. Is that my wife on the line there?
She doesn't listen. She's smart.
Hey, she's happy you're here.
Yeah, she's happy I'm anywhere but at home. No, that's not true. My wife puts up with me. She puts up with me. As we're coming up, and I know you've been in your relationship for a long time there, Drew.
Yes.
My wife and I are coming up on 30 years this April.
Fantastic.
30 years, and she has not killed me yet.
You know, it was interesting. One of my friends, his grandmother, they ended up being married for over 50 years. And during that time, somebody asked her, "Did you ever think about divorce?" And she said, "No, but I thought about murder quite a bit." Now, That's true.
Now, my mom passed away a few years back, but she passed away on what would have been her and my dad's wedding anniversary. I forget exactly which year. I want to say the 64th or something.
Yeah,
63rd.
it was over 60 when you were telling me. Yeah.
So my dad had passed away many years ago, back in the 80s, but she passed away on their anniversary. So if history does repeat itself, Sandra has about 3 months to decide how she's going to dispose of my body.
Well, the main thing is to check your insurance. If
Oh,
the
no.
insurance amount goes up, you're in trouble.
This is the sadder part. I have no life insurance, so it's financially better if I just disappear, because then I'm not spending. So it's not a financial incentive, trust me.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with our finances. Our income will go up if I suddenly disappear. Now, on a side note, no, actually on a very connected note, my wife works for the town of Chino Valley. Now, she started working there after I had been there for several years. I did a lot of work for them over the years. And I was very close with a lot of the good folks that work and currently work and have worked for the town of Chino Valley, including a friend of mine, at least I thought he was a friend of mine, former chief of police Chuck Wynn, and I thought he liked me. Then one day, my wife came home and she was laughing and she says, "Hey, I was talking to the chief, and he said, if I ever need to get rid of your body, he'll help me, and he'll also coach me through the interview process of the entire." And I saw him that night at a meeting. I said, "Hey, Chief, that's pretty funny." He looked at me. He goes, "I wasn't joking. We like her a lot better than you." And I'm not sure how much tongue-in-cheek that was. But
Well, what I've been told is that the place to hide a body is Paulton. And I was just figuring that you and Sandra moved out of Paulton so that she couldn't hide your body anymore.
that, we moved into Chino Valley, and we have a neighbor with a backhoe, so I don't think she's going to have any trouble. What Mr. Hinshaw is referencing is a story a true story that I've told several times on our local stages. About the time I had to dispose of a body in Paulden, but it's a much funnier story than it sounds.
It's
if you want to
hilarious.
hear some of those stories, hey, keep in mind I'm going to do a selfish plug here on February 27th at the Prescott Valley Performing Arts Center, the Main Street Theater. They're adjacent to the Findlay Toyota Center in Prescott Valley. pvperformingarts.org is where you can find out information on my show. Thursday, February 27th at 7 p.m. It's a stand-up comedy show for the entire family. Clean comedy for the entire family featuring headliner Keith Ellis and my good friend Bob Kubota. They're both coming up from the Phoenix area. So the three of us, and possibly, if I can cajole J.C. Anderson of Jester Comedy to do a spot, he might be doing that as well. That's Thursday, February 27th, 7 p.m. at the Prescott Valley Performing Arts Main Street Theater, pvperformingarts.org. Get your tickets now. It's going to be a fun night. And then throughout the show today, we're going to talk about some upcoming shows at the Elks. Unfortunately, next week on the 16th, I will be out of town, but JC will be bringing a show. We'll talk a little bit more about that and how to get tickets for that, as well as a show coming up in Sedona that JC's producing. So stick around. We're going to be talking about those. Again, we're also going to be talking the normal Friday repertoire here in the studio, Matt's movie review. You went to the movies last night?
I did. I saw Den of Thieves 2 Pantera.
Now,
I'm not sure exactly how to say it because in the film it said Den of Thieves Pantera, but everywhere like IMDb it says Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. So whatever.
Now, I didn't see the first one, so I'm assuming I'd be completely lost in the story of part 2.
No, my good buddy Clint went with me last night, and he has not watched part 1 yet either, and he had a really good time. He enjoyed it. It's a typical, not typical, but it's a bank heist.
And they steal
movie.
an 80s rock band? What?
No,
I don't understand.
it's in this
what's
time.
the Pantera section?
I know. Well, 80s. Jeez. Terrible. 90s. Come on.
Really?
Yeah. Jeez. But no, Pantera is the name of one of the operative groups that's trying to either help or hunt them down. I don't remember which one it is, but it's basically about a heist of diamonds in the World Diamond Center, which is in Nice, France. So Drew might really like it because Drew's a big fan of Nice, France, I believe.
Been there, done that. Wonderful place.
What would you like about Nice?
Everything.
Yeah.
It was It was
Little more
it was
specific.
too. It was too nice. It was too nice to be in France.
Yeah.
You know, they should have extended the border out from Italy and picked up that part of France. But needless to say, no, it's a beautiful part of the country. The weather was spectacular. Very nice people. Food was great.
Very nice. When did you go there?
80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You know, business trips and stuff like that.
Nice that you enjoyed Nice.
Yeah.
You might really enjoy this film just to see how, they filmed it and where they filmed it and all that, because I'd say 85% of the film takes place there.
That's good.
Very good. You like Italy better?
I've only been to the very northern part of Italy, just on the other side of Switzerland.
Yeah.
So I haven't been to Rome or Sicily. That's on the list with Jamie and I. But
Very
yeah,
nice.
we're definitely doing that. But pretty much most of the rest of Europe, I've got dialed in.
Nice. I was, speaking of travel, I was in Ashfork a couple weeks ago. It was nice to stop, got some beef jerky at the Shell station. It was nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I picked up a couple postcards. I was going to mail them, but I just hand-delivered them instead.
That's the kind of travel I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From here to Phoenix to Ashfork to every now and then I'll go to a comedy show with you in Sedona or Flagstaff,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
Yeah. That's all
Anything in
we can handle.
Seligman for you guys?
Seligman, no. There's a friend of mine that I've done some work with, Anthony Mitchell, out of Bullhead City, Lake Havasu area. He produces shows in Havasu and Bullhead, and he comes to Seligman he's done the Black Cat a couple of times, and he periodically, every few months, he'll do a show there. I need to get up and catch some of his shows. We did a festival a few years back together. That's where I met him in Flagstaff. Good guy. Does a lot of different shows. I believe he just started one in Needles recently, in that little triangle there around the river, and a good guy, and getting a lot of stage time and putting up a lot of shows. Now, Tom, road trips, Henshaw, your two-wheeled adventures. We know Drew is a motorcycle aficionado and long time rider. I've been riding most of my life. You have recently picked that up, and you've been. I'm a fair weather rider, man, and Henshaw's been out on two wheels a lot lately.
It's cold.
Yeah, how
very
do you
cold.
do it? I don't understand people who enjoy cold.
Oh, I'm not going now. It's way too cold now. I'm thinking my threshold is probably 50. Anything below 50, it's miserable.
I do not enjoy. How do you do in the cold? You got Drew. You've got. You take care of a lot of the gear, heated seats, heated hand grips and stuff.
Right.
I can't. My hands grip up too much. They just lock up too much.
Well, I believe that hand protection is more important than hand warmers.
Yeah.
Because if you've got the seat warmer, your biggest muscle you're sitting on, and if that muscle is warm, your whole body's warm. So all you really need to do is keep the wind off. But I agree with Matt. I set my temperature at 50, and then like if you're going south and it's going to warm up, that's it. But if you start out and it's just cold, I mean, at 50 degrees, I'm putting on my leathers. I've got to have leathers on. I think that's going to really help you if you're going to ride.
That's a lot of bovine, man, to wrap me up in leathers.
It's more than one cow.
Yeah, more than one. Okay, we're going to leave that one alone.
PETA would be protesting on every ride that I do, I think. I don't know.
Here's the thing. It's the leathers and the safety factor is much worth it than getting a skin graft.
I just decide to ride in the warmth, and that's when.
Yeah, but it's too cold in the morning now.
That's why I don't ride.
So that means you got to ride in the afternoon.
No, that means I ride in April. I think is when I'll be taking that thing out again.
Hey.
Yeah, a little too cold for me.
I'm good that I'm feeling better that my influence on Matt is more to ride than wait until April.
Yeah, no,
Trust me, I have a lot of influence on Matt. None of it good.
that's very true.
None of it good.
There's some times we are not allowed to talk about publicly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I was just going to say the most recent was pretty brutal. I was out with my friend Brian. We hit a trail. It's the first time I've hit a trail in a long time. I talked about it on the radio when it happened, this last week or whatever. It wasn't bad going on the trail other than I kept putting my foot down because it's been so long. It was terrible. But The worst part was coming home on Williamson Valley Road. The instant that sun went down and it was below 50, it was real cold. Doing
it gets
50,
cold
60.
really quick.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, that was really cold on that bike. I was going faster to try and get home.
Well, we had mentioned earlier. Of course, most of you listeners out there realize there are some tragedies going on in Southern California. We're going to talk a little bit about fires in general. I know Matt and I have had some experience with that professionally. We'll get Drew's input on that as well. We know that there's some tragic things happening: loss of life, loss of property, displaced folks. So we don't want to make light of that, but at the same time, we want you to enjoy this conversation. So stick around. We'll hear more on movies. We'll hear from Ma Henshaw. She'll be calling in later. And then we will again discuss why Barry Barb dislikes me so much. Right here on the Leza Live Show, KYCA News Talk Radio. We'll be right back. That song. That's a good one.
Well, we have a rule on the show that you're not supposed to interrupt Elvis.
Oh, sorry.
How dare you?
Play it again, Drew. Hey, Drew, one more time. What's the weather out there?
We're going to let it slide today.
Any changes on the weather?
Sun's out.
Sun's out. Sun's out. Guns out. Take that shirt off. That's what I heard. There he goes. Can we flip one of these cameras around and look through that?
I keep telling Drew one of these days I'm going to get something put in there and not tell him.
That's not good. That's not how you win friends and influence people, man.
Dale Carnegie. I've got that book. I even read it as a young child. I was probably like 12, 13 when I read it. Those Carnegie tips do not work well in 6th grade. They can really alienate you from the fellow students when you're 12, 13 years old.
They're not working for you now.
No, I've given up long time on that.
There was a period that they were okay, and we're on both ends of the spectrum now.
So, Drew, you have you mentioned off my you've got deep roots in the Southern California area,
Correct.
And continuing going back and forth for family and other things. Everybody safe down in your neck of the woods, your former neck of the woods?
I've got a couple buddies that had to be evacuated. One was in Santa Monica and Malibu, and his company is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
but he's okay, and that's the main thing. And the other one is up by Eaton Canyon, where the fire is.
Yeah.
And they've
Right in the heart of it.
Yeah, so he's pulled out, and that's horse property. So besides all God, there's all this chaos and stuff. There's a lot of animals.
Yeah.
I mean, people's pets. I mean, they're gone. I mean, it's really a shame. There was a lot of horses that were just released out of the corrals. Yeah. They don't know where they are. They don't know if they're okay. Dogs, cats, horses, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you think of the domestic animals, and of course, this is a concern here. As everyone knows, we are no stranger to the dangers of fire in this area, and this, of course, is a larger agriculture and equine community than most people think, especially of. When you think of L.A., you don't think of that when you think of Southern California, but there is still a lot of wildland out there, really, really close, as we're seeing to the urban and metro areas, and is still a very large equine communities in Southern Cal. So it's not necessarily something we think about when we mention Southern California or L.A., specifically in Brain.
Yeah, we think of concrete. You think of concrete and cars.
So I've got been following on social media, obviously, like most of us, the progress or lack thereof. And again, there's a lot of opinions on why it's so bad, what's going on. That's definitely not something I want to concentrate on this morning. There's tragedy, and finger pointing can take place later. But as far as how people are dealing with it on a personal basis, I got a few guys that I've worked with pretty closely over the years that live in that area. One he performs on cruise ships, and he had been gone for like 7 days and came back to find his entire neighborhood had been evacuated. Obviously in contact with his family and neighbors, but came back and just didn't know what to do. So they're all safe, but who knows what's going to happen to his home. He's in Santa Monica. So far, as of yesterday, it was still intact, but he's not there, so that's got to be anxiety driven. And another guy that I've done some work with was on a family vacation overseas, South Africa. And when did they start? When did the fire start?
Saturday, I think.
So he got on an airplane. Everything was fine. 20-something hour flight. Landed and realized the fire's about 5 miles from his home in Venice, 5 or 7 miles away.
Jeez.
They're doing fine, but he had no idea. Knew nothing about it. Hadn't really been aware of it while he was on flight. He was probably Xanaxed up, but landing and going, wait, there's a what?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, Matt, you and I worked side by side years ago when our community suffered a great loss of many aspects, many layers, with both the Dosey and the Yarnell fires. So what's going through your head? Because I've got some thoughts coming out of the news business over this past several days. What are some of the thoughts you've had?
Well, I don't want to make it sound selfish, but I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
It's a very tough discussion to have because and I covered news for so many years, and when there's a major news event, obviously we don't want to downplay the tragedy, but my thinking is I would like to be there shooting it.
Oh, exactly. I that's one of the biggest desires, and I know it's you as well, when it came to our photojournalism, is it's documenting history for perpetuity. And one of the other reasons why I'm so jealous, specifically California, is their laws are very different than here. I was watching the news this morning before I came in, and they were actually talking about it on the news. In Arizona, we are kept away from the fire lines farther than residents. We are really kept back as media. In California, you can go pretty much wherever you want. But the thing is if you get in trouble, the emergency personnel cannot help you. That is the caveat in California.
The root gut feeling of wanting to, that's why we got in the business, so we can get, for me anyway, was to get behind the scenes, to get as close, to be informed, to spread that information out. And that desire is still there, but quite frankly, it's a young man's game. The same moment I'm thinking, boy, I wish I could be there. I'm also thinking realistically, boy, I'm glad I'm not there. I'm not the man I was in my 20s when I was chasing ambulances and literally walking into a house that was engulfed. That was kind of a dumb.
I was telling my
dumb-
mom that story the other day. I was explaining the laws and how,
Yeah.
here, like when the Dosi and everything happened here, yeah, we went out to the fire lines, but we could see them. We
Yeah.
weren't on them. And in these fires, they're on them.
Yeah. So it's a fine line, and you and I discussed this, back in 2013 when we were covering the Yarnell and the Dosi.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between documenting and exploiting.
Yes.
And it's not always understood specifically by, nor should it be, by the people experiencing those losses. So when we're shooting a press release and capturing that emotion, sometimes the feeling is we are being intrusive, which quite frankly we are, but you have to do it in a way that you are offering dignity to those that are suffering the loss, at the same time sharing their story so that good things can come from tragedy, which we saw in the change of various laws and procedures and things of that nature. So getting the story out there, but in a dignified manner. And sometimes journalists, particularly broadcast journalists, don't always take that road. And we saw some of that this week as they're trying to interview people who are literally, Drew, you mentioned bringing horses out, and they're stopping them to talk. And it's like,
Oh.
hey, fellas, I got to get out of here. There's literally a fire over my shoulder. And that obviously is not presenting that in a dignified, informative way, more of an exploitive way. Now, we're going to come back after these messages to talk a little bit more about the fires. We're also going to change tone a little bit, talk about some of the Jester Comedy, Elks Theater comedy shows and who they have on those. And we're going to talk movies a little more in depth, but we do want to touch on those fires just a little bit more on Leza Live, KYCA News Talk Radio. We'll be right back. Drew, how do you like me now? All right, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. You know who doesn't like me?
Barry Barb.
Barry Barb. Why does Barry Barb hate me, and why did he blow me off this morning and not show up while I was host? I'm crushed. Barry, if you're listening, I am crushed.
Well, the list is long and distinguished, so
Are these cameras on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you see? Is it showing up? Is it picking up that tear rolling down my cheek? No.
That's the tattoo.
That's it.
crocodile tears.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. We have breaking news. Breaking news. I am an idiot. I was just told.
That's breaking news?
Yes. Yesterday's host, Liz, the host of the newly acclaimed Leza live show, Liz Rogers, texted me during the break that I keep calling it the wrong name. It is not the Prescott Elks Theater where JC's shows are. It is the Prescott Elks Performing Arts Center. So we have corrected that. For this portion of the show, we will have to correct it multiple times because I am an idiot.
And I don't know how that's breaking news. I mean, everybody, your wife has known that for years.
I hate you. So back to our, and again, we want you to enjoy as much as you can with me on the radio, but we want you to enjoy listening to this. We want to keep it light. But there's a tragedy going on.
True.
We were talking before the break about our experience covering fires and things. Got some texts as we're going to break there. That tell everyone. Oh, okay. My brother Gabe, who is 900 miles away from the fires, says to tell everyone in Arizona he is fine. Trust me, I've known him my entire life. He is not fine. He is not fine.
He is related to you.
But no, yeah. Or as I like to say, my much older brother. My elderly siblings are all older than me. We do have some friends in Southern Cal. They lifelong friends. I've known them 50 years. Him and his wife in Southern California are fine. 23 of their neighbors, though, have lost their homes. So the devastation is huge. Matt, you mentioned some numbers. What are some of the estimates as far as structures?
They're estimating over 10,000 structures have been burned already.
My goodness.
That's a lot.
That's
Well,
bad.
You got to give credit to the people that have been going through this. I was just online, and they've now have Airbnb, VRBO, all these people that they're saying, hey, we have houses available.
Yeah.
Call. There's Uber's giving people rides to the houses. So they are working together to put together some type of network, but it's being done by the people, not by the government, not by the city. So, again, it's going to be up to the people to do this to help each other. And I think that's what we need to do.
Again, it's an excellent point, Drew. And again, as we were talking about before the break, when you take a tragedy such as this, or what we experienced in 2013, or what we've gone through, you'd mentioned off
for years.
Off mic, the Loma Prieta in '89 in Northern California, the Northridge in '94. Tragedy comes, it happens. It's how we deal with it. So the community's coming together. We had that devastating tragedy in 2013. But what did we see? We saw community come together, take care of each other. So the political lines, the social economical lines, all that kind of goes away. And that's where you got to put your mindset is what can we do to support the community? What can we do to support each other? And that's not just your financial and room and board and clothing and food and water. It's also the emotional and mental support that can be offered. And quite frankly, I know this is a fairly politically passionate community that we live in. Matt, you know this about me. Drew, I don't know if you do. I am not a political person. I toe a neutral line because politics can be so frustrating and aggravating. I'm aggravating already. I don't need to worry about that.
I can see your blood pressure going up.
I don't need to worry about that. So I keep a very neutral tone. And quite frankly, that's where you need to be in a devastating tragedy, is to shelve that stuff. There'll be plenty of time and opportunity to point fingers later. Let's worry about taking care of people.
Right.
And keeping that. Are we going to another break?
Yeah, soon.
Oh, tell you what.
Working.
Let's. What I want you two to think about is, especially in our area, we are reminded: get your bug out bag, get your go bag together. My family and I have been working on. We've been planning to have ours done for about 10 years. We're almost there. Think
You
about
bought the bag.
this is. Think about your bug out bag, your go bag. What do you guys have in yours? If you have one, if you don't, if you're planning on doing it, what are you going to have? And if not, think about. And I've been to Hinshaw's house. I've been to your garage, Drew, but I've been to this man's house. When it's time to go, when that fire is creeping up down the street and you've got 30 seconds to get out, what are you grabbing? I want to hear you guys' input on that. That, and please call in 928-541-1016. Tell me why Barry Barb hates me. We'll be right back on Leza Live on KYCA News Talk Radio after these messages. And we are back on Leza Live with Matt Santos, Matt Hinshaw, and Drew in the booth. Drew, weather update.
It went up 2 degrees.
Okay.
It's now 28 degrees.
28 degrees, still about 40 degrees away from bringing out my motorcycle.
At least.
All right, so in the event of an emergency, which is a very, very realistic outlook to have. Friends, associates of mine have always encouraged, have a go bag, have a bug out bag. Fortunately, at our house, we don't have any ongoing medical issues, so we don't have to worry about prescriptions to take and things like that. So got a little money stashed in the bag. We've got some water purifier. We've got some things. But we're definitely not where we need to be. People say have a little supply of food, whether that be snacks or canned goods or something, and of course water and things. I take a different approach. I have probably a week's worth of food supply under the seat of the car. Currently, it consists of about a handful of fries, half a bologna sandwich, an Eggo waffle with some peanut butter. I think we're good. I think we're okay. Drew, it's an emergency. You get the alert on your phone. You get a pound on the door. It's the sheriff's department. You got 5 minutes to go. What are you grabbing?
Well, Matt, I'm gonna give into my OCD here. Okay, knowing that I have a actual like a clipboard and it's got all the things, and some of the things are like example your financials.
Yeah,
they have them in a little box, so if you need to, you can just grab that box and go. It's got your checkbooks.
I keep my financials in the ashtray of the car, so we're covered there.
All right, you're covered there, and then of course I have a food stash that is outside of the house. So if anything happens, you want to, if it's in the house, it's gone, right?
Exactly.
So it's got to be out of the house. And then, certain pictures that we've decided, okay, if something happens, Jamie's grabbing this, I'm grabbing that.
The can't do without.
Things that you cannot replace.
Yeah.
Now, you've got to make sure you got your priorities because, you can't take everything. But the main thing is that, for the dogs, we've got food ready to go, extra bowls, leashes, all that stuff. So if anything happens, it's like just grabbing boxes and throwing them in your car as fast as you can.
Not even close to OCD. I know you're making light of that, but no, that's a necessity. We keep ours. We do have these camp very durable backpacks that hold quite a lot. So we've got those. We've got them near the door just in case to grab them and head out. I've got a touch of that OCD. I like to tell people I'm OCD enough, just enough to be annoying, not enough to be clean.
Yeah.
Matt, now again? I've been to his home. I for a while I was running a little series on social media where I would go in and film his house when he wasn't home, and it was entitled "Yes, a Grown Adult Lives Here." People were shocked; they thought I was at a Toys R Us sidewalk sale. What do you grab, Matt? What is in your either physical or mental go bag?
Oh, Amazing Spider-Man number 300, right off the bat. Irreplaceable. Irreplaceable.
What about the doll? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
The doll.
Action figure collection.
There's so many.
Are they just in fireproof safes in the garage?
No.
Rubbermaid cases.
Rubbermaid cases, yeah.
That will just melt. It'll just
melt. It'll be a big ball of plastic.
When you go to the metal recyclers, we do that periodically, and they just have those big, huge blocks of crushed cans. That's what yours is going to be. On the side, you're just going to see a Captain America insignia melted into the Rubbermaid.
Pretty much. Pretty much, yep.
No, what do you grab though? Seriously, what have you even thought about that? Are you prepared for that?
I don't have anything put together.
Not formally, okay.
No, but most of everything is online in some way, shape, or form. So to be truthful, I would probably grab my computer and my
well, that's a given.
My NAS, which
he's not talking about his laptop. He's going to take his desktop.
like desktop. That's where all my photos are. Well, actually, they're all on my NAS, but network attached storage.
Yeah.
So I would probably take that because that's terabytes and terabytes and decades of imagery, which is irreplaceable. And then I have several images that I hung in like galleries and stuff throughout the years that are on processes that I probably can't afford to remake.
Yeah.
Negatives, mostly photo stuff is probably what I would grab because anything medical, prescriptions, sure, but anything else, easily to get back.
I have, many years ago, I switched to external hard drives for all my storage, and I've got a line of them on my desk at home. They're about the size of a pack of cards, a deck of cards. I've got 6 or 7 of them there for various time frames and clients and things. There's 2 of those that I would probably grab and throw in a pocket or throw into my backpack. Hey, we are going to come back in just a moment. We're going to have Ma Henshaw call in, and we're going to spend the next few minutes after this break talking about one of her favorite movies. We'll let her introduce that when we come back on Leza Live on KYCA News Talk Radio. We are back on Leza Live on KYCA News Talk Radio. Ma Henshaw, you're on the phone. How are you?
Awesome. Howdy.
You are double Matt today. How are you?
That's very confusing, but I'm much better than I was.
Mom, when Matt and I are together, we always call each other by our last names because that's how we don't confuse people.
I'm confused already.
True.
Yeah.
So you watched a movie to tell us about. It's a classic comedy.
Well, are you going to explain the assignment she had?
No, because you butchered it.
Oh, okay.
I asked your son, I said, hey, have your mom pick a movie about Arizona. Because you, as an Arizona native, could have given us some insight. And he told you, pick a movie filmed in Arizona. And then he brought me a list of about 80 movies filmed in Arizona.
Right.
He's a goober.
It's
Your
so much
son-
more interesting.
Your son was not raised right. Oh, wait. Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, you better watch
Wait a
out.
minute. I
gonna-
take that personally.
She's going to come and hit you with her cane.
So what movie did you watch?
Well, I went through it, and I could have said Stagecoach, which was filmed in Arizona,
Yes.
but in 1939, no. And then I could say Tombstone, because we go to Tombstone Friday nights and eat at the Longhorn across from the Crystal Palace. But
Every
I
Friday.
decided, nope. My favorite is the Three Amigos.
Now, I haven't seen Three Amigos since it came out at the theater 35, 38 years ago, something like that.
1986.
So you watched it recently. How's it hold up?
Oh, I haven't watched it real recently, but I do watch it every once in a while, and I think it holds up beautifully. Number one, it was filmed, a lot of it, at Old Tucson.
The old studio, yeah, the
I
Western
love
town.
the fact, because we live in southern Arizona, southern whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, and we have a lot of Hispanic culture, and I thought that part of it was beautiful. I mean, when you see Westerns, they're always, just riding off across the desert, but this movie brings in the Hispanic part of Arizona
And
and the partying that they have, and I thought that was great. El Guapo and his birthday party, and then he gets a sweater. It cracks me up. Love that.
Okay. Now, I tried watching it the other night, and I'll admit I was a little distracted. I remember really enjoying it when I saw it years and years ago, but that could have been I could have been influenced by other factors when in '86 when that came out. But I tried watching it the other night, and they were now I understand their characters were supposed to be very overplayed and hammy, but it was a little too much for me. It was a little too much for me. I'll have to revisit it, though. It being one of your favorites, I will have to revisit it and spend a little more time on it.
I thought so. It was so good because they really had not ridden horses, except maybe when they made a movie or something.
Yeah.
Martin Short was just absolutely silly.
Yeah. Now,
And,
I love
I
their
feel-
costumes. We should get one for your son like that. Very shiny.
Yeah.
It's all about the sparkles.
All right. We thank you for calling in, Ma Henshaw. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Next time you're up in town, we got to hook up and maybe go grab a bite to eat. I want to thank Leza LaChapelle Dandos for letting me take up space here today. Again, thanks to Barry Barb for not showing up. We will talk at you later.